pronunciation. The main reason that the spoken forms of the two languages are less intelligible than the written forms is because they differ significantly in phonology. Portuguese has much more complex phonology than Spanish, with many extra sounds. And this is one reason that Portuguese speakers have an easier time understanding spoken Spanish than vice versa. Consonants. In Spanish, the B, D, and G consonants have soft pronunciations that occur, for example, between vowels. The way those soft sounds work is different in Portuguese. European Portuguese has the soft D sound, while some Brazilian accents don't. For example, in Spanish,
nada.
In Portuguese,
Nada.
and in Brazilian Portuguese,
Nada.
Portuguese doesn't have the soft B. In Spanish,
Saber.
in Portuguese.
Saber.
Next, the rolled R sound of Spanish corresponds to a rather different sound in Portuguese, when it's at the beginning of a word or if it's doubled. In Spanish,
Rápido.
in Portuguese,
Rápido.
in Spanish,
Torre.
in Portuguese.
Torre.
Next, the sound represented by a double L in Spanish has a corresponding sound in Portuguese, represented by LH. For example, in Spanish there's
Fallar.
and in Portuguese there's,
Falhar.
meaning fail. And Portuguese has some consonants that don't have an equivalent in Spanish. First, a sh sound, spelled with CH or with X. So in Spanish we have,
Llega.
but in Portuguese,
Chega.
meaning arrives. A j sound. In Spanish we have,
Agencia.
and in Portuguese we have.
Agência.
This is another example of a difference in soft consonants. In both languages, the letter G represents a soft G sound rather than a G when it's followed by an E or an I. But the soft sound is different in either language. Listen again.
Agencia.
Agência.
Next, a V sound. Spanish doesn't really have a V sound. It does have the soft B, which kind of sounds similar to a V, but Portuguese has a distinct V sound. So in Spanish we have,
Visitar.
and in Portuguese we have.
Visitar.
In Spanish we have,
Libro.
and in Portuguese we have.
Livro.
And one more, a Z sound. The sound Z is not found in many Spanish words, but in Portuguese it's very common. So in Spanish we have,
Preciso.
and in Portuguese we have.
Preciso.
This sound is often found between vowels and at the beginning of words.